Okay, so there are 8 ways that are actually working if you're doing them well to take more business. Super simple, none of it's complicated, but if you do them all, it works. If you do them some, it's not gonna work, or if you're not doing them at all. In my experience right, I didn't come up with these, like this is from my coach that we're working on. And he has like big examples to show how it's working. Is over the past several years, if we've been in the industry long enough, we've gotten lazy. We've been able to just stop putting the work in because our phone was ringing and people needed a house and we were just turning and burning super fast. That's not happening anymore. The phone isn't ringing the way that it used to. So we have to like get back to working. We're transitioned into a skills-based market. So if we don't have the skills, you're not gonna be in the industry for much longer, right? So 8 effective ways that are working. Number 1 is to clean your database, right? Like I don't care what platform you're using, but clean up your database. And so you download and export all the people from Facebook that you have, right? If you have social media, I'm sure that you have a ton of people on there. Instagram's a little bit harder, and then all the people in your phone. You want to download them all into an Excel spreadsheet, put them into, or a CSV file, put them all into, it keeps popping up, your CRM. With your database, when we say clean it, I want a different color. I'm just having fun with these different colors is all that's happening here. We want the name, phone, email, and address of the deed. Right, so if you have those, if you don't have them, you can do We Clean List, I think is a company, and a lot of other data scrubbing companies to get all of that information. Once we have this information, it's gonna make the rest of these a lot more easy and doable. But start here with cleaning your database, because if we don't know who or how we're communicating with, then we're not doing it well.
Do you have a CRM that you prefer?
So, yeah, please, otherwise this would be weird. So we at Keller, we have a CRM affiliated with our company called Command.
Mhm.
It's put into my monthly billing. I say that it's free, it's not like I pay for it monthly.
Yeah.
I think it's, what is it, $80 a month? Somebody please help me at this point. I use that.
You
Cause
like
I do like it, it's the only one that I know, I've never used another one, cause it was here when I got here, and I don't wanna pay for something additionally. In the industry, I believe KV Core is ranked number 1, and I do believe that Command is ranked number 2. And we have pretty much all the same things that they have now. The most recent was adding a open house sign-in to the CRM for electronic sign-ins, but that's what I use. And it allows me to touch my people in my database systematically on a schedule without me having to do it. That's what I need to do, because I don't want to have to think about logging in and doing it every day. But I don't care what it is. Use an Excel spreadsheet if you have to. Use something. Once we have our database clean, we want to go on quarterly calls to our database. And so one way to do that is the DTD2, do the database touch to something or other. I should know these things before I say them. Jennifer's laughing so hard because she knows I got it wrong. Tell me out, what is it? She's like, I don't freaking know what it is. She just laughs so hard though. But there is, let me see everyone who's on this. There's a sheet you can do either, you can go through the alphabet every month, like A, B, C on every day, or there's an actual sheet that lays out, and I can email it to everybody that's on the call. And it's like week 1, you'll call people with the last name of S, A, and then text Q's or whatever. And it rotates through, so they're getting a call or a text every quarter from you. So I can send that out, and it can be calls for a lot of things, but one thing we got in the habit of doing is the Ford model, family, occupation, recreation, dream. If we're calling our people and we're checking in on them, we're asking how they're doing, asking about their family or their work or whatever we know about them. That opens the conversation. One, we're coming from a place of curiosity. We're coming from a place of building that rapport, building that relationship, rather than just constantly showing up, hey, who do you know who wants to sell real estate? If we ask questions, they're gonna tell us. And when we ask people about their occupation, they're gonna ask us about ours, and that gives us the opportunity to talk about what we do. Right, but we want to be top of mind, so we have to call our people. Did you figure out what it was called, Jennifer? Yeah.
It stands for database.
Wait, we
do
can't
the
hear.
Database two.
Where's, oh wait, go ahead.
Do the
Do the
database two.
That's what I said. Kinda.
Do the database.
Do the database too. Yep, the DTP too.
I'm putting a link in the chat box.
Thank you. There's a lot.
NAR.
Yeah.
The other day.
Likely different.
So you an NRA member? NRA. Oh.
NAR. The third thing is quarterly or monthly mailers. So. I know, come on. I swear I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, those unprepared. So
I did.
quarterly to monthly mailers depends on, I need to mute my computer. Right, we're talking about doing mailers or farming or whatever. Think first with what your budget is in mind, right? We're not gonna send a mailer to all of our Facebook, all of our Instagram, and all of the contacts in our phone. We're talking like the top 200 people, like your A and B people, your raving fans who are gonna refer you every single time somebody talks about real estate. And then your people who have the potential to do real estate transaction with you in the next year or so, right? Like your top people. And quarterly, monthly, whatever you wanna do. And you can, there are companies that will design a graphic for you, they'll upload it into Vistaprint for you. All you have to do is pay and upload your addresses and put them in. That's why we have to clean our database, and they can be anything, right? Like a happy holiday one with a thing on the back. That's why I wanted to get these, planning your next move. If you're doing them quarterly, they should be, I have a ton, so you can see, targeted for what's happening in the industry, objection handlers, right? So we're not just sending spam mail. And then once you send it, the next time you call that person, you wanna ask them if they received your mail and talk about it. If you send mail and you don't talk about it, it's spam. Nobody wants to be spammed. So it can be postcards, it can be the magazine, the At Home or Better Lifestyle, whatever it is. But again, it's just getting in front of people. I know, for examples, that things do work. My coach, who, his name's Jeremy Bowers, he's in Philly, in the mainline area. He spent just over $400 on mailers. He sent over 400 postcards out, so they were about $1 a postcard, and he had 2 listing leads come off of that, and 40 interactions off of his 400 mailers.
That was just after one round.
That was one.
Wow.
Yep, and he just consistently does it all of the time, and so that number, right, gets bigger and bigger, and people that, his latest example was he sends one to his accountant. His accountant knows that he's a real estate agent, he does his taxes. But the last time that he did one, the guy took a picture of it and texted him, he was like, I see these, I see them, this is awesome, great job, right? So that's part of the being consistent, and then we're talking about the mail. And then that guy posted it on Facebook, so you get those impressions also. So whatever you're doing, do it consistently. And then 2 emails per month. One is HomeBot. HomeBot's just a subscription, it's $30 a month, and you can upload, I think it's like 500 people in that for $30 a month. You have to have their address, though. So it will send them, and once we get through, or maybe I'll just do it right now since we're here. I will show you.
Here, come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you an example of it. Okay, so if you guys look behind you there, here's an example of HomeBot. So it has their address. And you can click. I just want to make sure this is the right one. So HomeBot will tell them an estimate of what their home is worth. It'll tell them how much they owe on their home, and it does it with pretty good accuracy from what I'm being told by people that I know who use it. I personally have not signed up for it yet. I was canceling one subscription that I have with the intention of transitioning into this one. Similar to a lot of other things that we spend a lot of money and pay for, you can log into your portal side of it and see who's clicking to see what their house is worth and who's visiting that site enough. So then there's a reason to reach back out and say, oh, hey, I saw that you saw the thing. What do you think about your home's value or how much you owe on it? And so it pulls all of this. 11 homes in that market are selling around 49 days. There was another one. Hold on, let me see. Stop. Oh, all homes. That's not what I wanted. Oh, so then it gives you an average of what homes around are selling for. Here we go. Maybe. Is anyone here currently using HomeBot? Oh, this is the one I wanted. Okay.
Can I
So
ask a
your
question?
estimated value of your home. This is Jeremy's actual home that he's using and shares the link with us so we can see, and he claims that this is fairly accurate. And then you can see how much it's gone up since his purchase. And you can see this graph, right? Demand is picking up. Reminder, he's in Philly mainline, so their price point is a little different than ours. Yep. He also said that the interest rate on his home was accurate. I know. Net worth, then, you know, if you sold your home today, this is approximately what you would be able to get, thinking of selling. So it gives you all of this. And right, and they can click around in it, they can change things. If the interest rate is wrong, they can change that. Right, there's a lead capture in here where they can reach out and talk and message you if you have questions. And then it would have your information branded to you down here. Right, so that's one email that goes out every single month to the people in his database that have this information, right? And it's $30, I believe for about 500, I was checking prices, it's not super unaffordable. So again, if you have thousands of people in your database, you're really gonna wanna filter through and make sure we're tagging our database that you're top referrers, or your buyers, your sellers, or whomever. And the second email per month that they're doing is, again, I have it up on the screen in the back there for everyone in here, is a newsletter. And they do have a marketing team, but also FYI, we do have here in our office an agent services coordinator, my girl Lauren back there, right? She is here. If you need help with a graphic for your postcard, or help loading it, or helping with content, right? She can help you. She's not here to do it for you, but she can help you with ideas or figure out how to do it. And in the newsletter, right, so there's something personal in there. There's a little bit about the market update, what's happening. A recipe. Oh, and if you click this, it will take you to a market report. That's getting a little crazy paisy, but and then local events that are happening in their area, right? And that's the one thing that he really hones in on, and what's working really well is people care about what's happening in their area, right? So it's gonna be warm, if there's a music venue thing popping up, right? Like Millvale does a whole thing where they music festival for the weekend, or the regatta, or the arts. Do we still have the regatta? Pittsburgh? I don't even know. Or the arts festival, or all of the things. But he puts all that in, and it's a link directly to that website so they can find out more information. And that's just the one thing that he really hones in on is local events, and then branded to him and his wife, so people know what's going on. So those two emails go out every month, the HomeBot and the newsletter go out, and those are his two emails to his people. So these are all virtual touches, right? We're just calling, we're emailing, we're not spending a ton of money, just a little bit on the mailers and maybe a little bit on the HomeBot. 2 larger events per year, right? I would recommend partnering with another agent. Jennifer and I have done several events where we've partnered together, or partnering with a vendor to help some of the cost, right? You don't want to incur all of these on your own. But 2 larger events. So a popular one, everyone does something in the fall, right? Maybe you get a pavilion at a pumpkin patch or whatever, and have drinks or food truck or whatever it is, something in the spring or the summer, but 2 events that you invite people to, make them know that you're a real estate agent. You want to get a piece of business from that. So be super selective of who you're inviting, or who you're inviting that you're allowing to also invite somebody. Everybody that comes, you should have an RSVP, you should have their information so that you can circle back. It's not even so much about the event, it's the follow-up from the event. Thank you for coming, sharing pictures, and if you missed it, creating that FOMO that they weren't at your event and they want to be at that next one. Get a vendor, sponsor something. We have a lot of sports here, right? Actually, the Pirates are doing well right now. I was gonna say they suck. Tickets are usually pretty cheap, but they're like 5-0 right now. I don't know why I know that. So, you know, get a block, get people together, go to a Pirate game, get your, what's that, lender? I'm pointing to Todd upstairs. Get your lender to go in with you. Jennifer's laughing. I'm so glad she's here to help me. So these are gonna cost you money. That's why you want to get at least 1 lead out of it, depending on how much you spend on it. 2 micro events. You guys can't see this. Hold on. Yep, there we go. Doing my best here. 2 micro events. The difference between a large event and a micro event is the amount of money and planning that goes into this. A micro event can be 2 small happy hours. pick 2 dates, I don't care when they are, and every time you see one of your friends or anytime you talk to your people, you're just like, oh, hey, we're all getting together on April 12th at Mulligan's. You should come down at 6 o'clock. You don't even have to pay for their drinks, right? Or their whatever it is that you're doing. You're connecting people together, right? So we're all in the business realm, we're all in the business world. If you know people that should know each other who are also in business, make sure you invite them. And when you're there, just connect them together. They're gonna remember you as the person who made that connection, who helped their business or whatever it is that they're into. But you're just like, hey, you should come down, right? People wanna get together, they wanna go out, they wanna have fun. Do it right after tax day. I don't know, we all need to have a drink after tax day, right? Every realtor should be like, yes, yes, we do. But that's the difference, right? The larger events, we're planning, we're paying, we need a sponsor to help. This one, we're making connections, having conversations. If we're doing anything, we want business to come from it, but the difference is gonna be the price and the scale of it. Open houses, we're back and they're working if you run them effectively, right? We have a playbook, the 7 levels of an open house. Run the playbook, right? Advertise everywhere, door knock the neighborhood before your open house, invite the neighbors to come a half an hour in advance for a private tour. Door knock the neighborhood after the open house. From each open house, you want to generate several pieces of business. Right? The goal of an open house technically is not to sell the house, it's to generate more business. You want to get more listings from that neighborhood that you have the open house, and you want a buyer who wants to buy in that neighborhood but doesn't want to buy that house. Right? You can only have 1 buyer per house. Hi, Heather. Pretty good, how are you?
I haven't done it since going to school yet. When you do that, what is your opening, or do you give them a card, or do you just call? Or do you like have something to present, or how do you get them?
So specifically for an open house, right, I will have a graphic. It's not a whole page, it's usually a half a page or something fairly small. A little bit bigger than a business card, because it's gonna have the open house information on it. It's gonna have the date and the time, and like, you're exclusively invited to come, right? And I want the neighbors to come a half an hour in advance to my open house starting for 2 reasons. One, I wanna make them feel special. You get an exclusive look into the home before everyone else comes, right? Neighbors are nosy, they want in that house. Number 2, I don't want nosy neighbors flooding the open house. Right? I want that to be for the actual serious buyers who are looking for a home. And if they're there a half an hour in advance, by the time the actual open house starts, if the neighbors are there, the buyers are gonna see that people are already in the house. It'll create a sense of urgency. It's like, oh my gosh, all these people are already here.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have my information. It's gonna have the time and date of the open house, and there will be a call to action that if they're interested in having a conversation, and I just door knock and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to let you know we're having an open house at your neighbor's house on Saturday. 2 things. 1, I just wanted to alert you the street might be a little busier than usual, so I wanted to let you know. And 2, invite you to a private showing of the house if you were interested in taking a look around. Right? And invite them to come over. Or, you know, ask a question, hey, you love living in this neighborhood, who do you know who might want to live in this neighborhood that you should send to the open house? Who do you want to live next to that you should send to the open house? After the open house, we door knock again, so that's a day or 2 in advance. After the open house, immediately following, we're gonna have another one with a call to action. Do you want to know the value of your home? And we're gonna door knock again. If you had a great showing at your open house, you're gonna door knock and just say, you know, hey, we had 15 families come through, only 1 of them can buy the house. If you were thinking about selling or interested in knowing the equity of your home, now might be a really good time, because 14 other people who are interested in this area are still looking. Right? If you had a terrible showing at your open house, don't say that. Just say, hey, we hosted an open house. Are you interested in knowing the value of your home? Here's what, you know, we have this one listed at. I'd love to be able to compare the 2 and see how much equity you might have in your home if you ever thought about it. They might not be a right now, but they could be a future. You could get them thinking, right? we wanna get in front of people before they know they want to sell. Right? Once they've made the decision, they probably already have someone in mind. Somebody's already planted that seed. And then farming. So farming a local area, we're gonna go similar to the monthly mailers, right? Don't pick a farm that's hard for you to get to. It should be fairly accessible, whether it's close to your work or close to your house. And it should be sizable so that you can do mailers or pop buys. I always am gonna say Popeyes, regularly without having a huge expense, right? So door hangers, however so often. Jennifer and I have done Halloween ones, right? Where it's just a door hanger, has our information, our card, you know, it's a real treat to work with you, and we just glue dotted some Kit Kats on there and door knocked. My farm is about a 200 house area right over there in Highland Park. I can walk it, what took us an hour to walk. And it's fairly inexpensive to mail or buy cheap things for $200.
Mhm.
But the key is with all of the things, right? You're calling quarterly, you're doing a quarterly or monthly mailer, 2 emails a month, 2 large events a year, 2 micro events a year. Every open house should run the same exact play. Your events should also all run the same play. You should know when you're gonna start advertising, where you're advertising, who you're advertising to. Up until the day of the event, there's a systematic play. You just run the play, don't overthink it. And then farming being consistent, you should show up at if your farm is not on the rest of these, we know it takes between 7 and 8 touches to convert a lead. So maybe we're mailing or dropping by or doing something once a month or once every other month consistently. Because on average, realtors stop after 3 or 4 attempts because they don't convert that fast. So don't be like the average realtor and stop after 3 or 4 times. You've now wasted your money. You were just like everyone else. You have to be consistent, which is why you have to think about the cost of all of it before we go in, so we can keep going for the long game. That's the 8. Is anyone on here running any or all of these 8 ways? I know you are. Jennifer is raising her hand. What are your thoughts, comments, opinions, open forum, because that was only a half an hour, so let's talk this through.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just ordered these cutie patootie door hangers. One of my favorite websites is called All Things Real Estate. And it says, hello, we're holding an open house in your neighborhood. And then it says address, date and time. And then at the bottom, it's got a little spot for your business card to click in.
That's cute.
On the back, I was thinking about ordering just like a little stamp that's really cute that says special invite. If you live in the neighborhood, feel free to stop by 30 minutes early for a donut or coffee or whatever it is. But I hired my 17-year-old to connect my card in here, and I'm going to drop him off the week before my open house, and he's going to hang these for me.
I love those. They're super cute.
Yeah. Okay, that is all.
Thanks. Wait, I got to remute myself. Does anyone have a monthly mailer or email that they're sending out, newsletter or anything super effective that is working? What are you mailing, JB?
I still have the neighborhood nurture in command. My favorite thing about that is that when you send a neighborhood nurture to your contact, and if you don't know what that is, feel free to go to YouTube and click on Marty Miller's neighborhood nurture and you can watch a video on it. But it shows me the activity. So I tag the people that are set up for neighborhood nurture. They're tagged as NN. And if I want to go look at that, it shows me the activity. It shows me that they're clicking on it. It shows me that they're actually engaging with it. They can also unsubscribe or whatever. But in any case, I do have the neighborhood nurture going out.
The thing that I love about the neighborhood nurture too is
Besides the fact that it's free.
It's different than HomeBot, right? Where HomeBot will give you like on your specific house. Neighborhood Nurture will tell you what's happening around you in your neighborhood. What I like about the Neighborhood Nurture is they can move, once they click in, they can pick a different area or a different neighborhood. And for investors, for our investor friendly people, if you know that your investor is interested in Bethel Park or McKeesport or wherever, you can just put that area in and it'll send them updates in those areas too. So if they're considering purchasing that $15,000 McKeesport home and they want to see what has been happening, what other renovated homes might have sold for, they can get that monthly. And that's in a smart plan in Command. That again is one of those, you just set it and move on and allow it to send every month.
I will also say, because you and I do a lot of these together, I think we've been successful because we're consistent. But Ally and I did a database event at Cinnaholic that you were talking about. And one of my clients that came to that event has been a referral to me. She's like the new rock star of my database. She's given me 3 clients. She works for a local university and she handles recruiting and faculty. And she has sent me 3 faculty recruits, all of which were in the 600 to 800 price range that all closed in 2023. I just met a buyer that's coming in the fall of 2025. I just left a coffee shop and met her and her husband that are coming. And then I met 2 weeks ago with another one. So the woman, long story short, the woman that came to the event referred my name to another department at the university, and they've now already referred me 2 clients. So, if I wasn't loving on my database like that, she may not be thinking about me, because clearly they had been referring to other realtors prior to this.
Yeah. And that's what, right? So when we talk about our top 200 people that we're sending mailers to, or we're inviting to our big events, our A and B people, they might not be people that are going to move right now, right? Like there are raving fans of mine that have no intention of ever purchasing a home in the next however many years. Now I understand life changes, but I don't keep in contact with those people because I hope that they're going to buy or sell. Nope. I keep in contact with those people because they refer me to everyone, right? And so we can do all of these things. We can generate all of the business, but if we suck in the middle of the transaction, none of this matters, right? So that's why we talk a lot about transactional excellence moving forward, because you can do all of this all of the time and generate new business and new business and new business. I personally enjoy working on a referral business. It's a warm lead. There are people that know, like, and trust me that refer me to people that know, like, and trust them, right? So that's it's more repeatable business. For example, to Jennifer's point, I had a buyer who just saw me on social media. We went to school together, never hung out, weren't great friends, saw me on social media, posting things, doing things, like I'll post a newsletter, I'll put it on my social, whatever, and reached out. They purchased a home from the beginning. Don't ask for a review or set the standard at the end. From the beginning of the transaction, it was like, here's what you can expect from me. You're going to get great service. You're going to expect this, this, and this. What I expect in return is in the middle of the transaction, you're going to be talking to your friends and family that you're purchasing a home. Somebody is going to talk about real estate. I'd love to be able to have that conversation with them, right? So before we closed on their home, they had referred me 2 people while we were in the middle of home searching. I'm talking, we're getting outbid, like we weren't even having a good time, but they were referring me to other people. Since they've closed, and we closed on those 2. Since we closed, they've referred me to 4 other people, all of whom we've closed, and those people have referred me to other people. So that's the goal. I've now got into my sphere, right? And so they just purchased a home 2 years ago, right? Like they're not looking to purchase right now, but you better believe they get a quarterly call from me. They get a text or a card on holidays. They get my newsletters. They get everything from me because they're going to keep referring me business. right? So it's all of those things to our raving fans. Is anyone? Is there anyone? Hold on. Is anyone else doing any large events, micro events? Who's doing open houses super well? Anyone? It's not me. No one is. I say that because I had an open house a couple weeks ago. I did the things, I door knocked, I did everything. I'm in my open house, I'm all by myself. Jennifer calls me in the middle of it. She had an open house too. She's like, how's your open house going? I was like, it's dead. She goes, mine's so busy.
Wow.
Thanks, JB.
I just like, I don't do seventh level. I'm trying to get better at that because I do think open houses are just absolutely gonna be poppin', due to, you know, changes in the industry. But one thing, and I'll just die on this hill, please don't ever cancel an open house because you have an offer. If you have advertised an open house for a week and you get an offer on Friday and your open house is on Saturday, please don't cancel it. You've already generated buzz, hopefully, you've put things on social, you're there to meet people. It's good business to just be in front of them. Like, how many times are you sitting in your living room in your chair and you're just like, boy, it sure would be nice if I could get in front of a buyer, but then you turn around and you cancel an open house simply because you got an offer. Every listing should get you more business. So get in front of those people, stay. Also, West Penn, when you change the status of your property, the rule is that within a status change, within 72 hours, you have to change the status, right? So like if I accept an offer on Friday and I have an open house on Sunday, I'm still well within my timeline with West Penn to keep it active. To keep it active. That's going to keep people coming to the open house. Now, I do tell people when they come in, hey, we've accepted an offer, but as we all know, offers can terminate over different things. Please write your name down here. Please sign in. I will not spam you, but if this terminates, I will call you first and let you know. And that's what happened. It's happened to me multiple times.
I want to talk about a couple, conversation. Is anyone doing anything, or what's something that we can start doing? Like, I don't want to get away from the 8 ways to take more business. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. This is being recorded. I can email it out to everybody because we talked about a couple of different things, home bot, larger events, micro events. But in the open house world, and if you are gonna share, like pop your hand up, because I have it muted on my computer, which is where the speaker is coming from. In the realm of open house, so when we were at family reunion, oh my God, what's his name? The guy who wrote Exactly What to Say, which is a great book if you haven't read it. He's like a language wizard. Joe's gonna watch us recording and be super mad that I forgot his name. Simon Sinek? Phil Jones. Phil Jones. We were talking about an open house and we were in a room full of real estate agents. And he was like, so what do you say when someone walks into your open house? And God bless the brave souls who were like, I say, what brings you in today? And he was like, that's a dumb thing to say. Clearly the open house brought them in. I was like, oh man, right? But that's what we say, like, oh, what brings you in? And so when somebody asks, how's the market? What is your go-to? What do you say when someone asks you, how's the market? Anyone speaking up?
No.
No one asked you? No conversation. I think I'm too close.
You know, I'm giving numbers.
Okay, tell us what you said.
Well, I just had that meeting and I could tell them that we're 3% up over last year if they're looking in Allegheny County. How's the market? They live in Northern California. They're talking about what it looks like, you know, for multiple offers there. And I just try to explain what it looks like here, you know, that it does seem to be declining in some areas. I'm definitely seeing a shift or whatever. Like there's just, major talking points in the Monday market call that we have, in my opinion, I'm able to say, like, I'm a numbers nerd. I really am a student of the market. Like, this is the reality of what's happening in Allegheny County, single family homes. So, it gives me talking points, and people are usually like, oh, okay. Because they're listening to national news. They're listening to maybe some local news, but mostly they're listening to national news. And in the same appointment was a conversation about buyer's agency, because they're reading talking points that are kind of inaccurate with the NAR settlement. So, that's the market too. That's the market too. So be a student of your business.
Heck yeah, be on that Monday market call. I can get you right to that. It's not just for our agents, right? It's for anyone, because here's the deal. Anybody that does better in the real estate industry helps all of us, right? So we're not like, oh, let's keep all of the information. But that's a great point, right? So that was an appointment. She knew where that conversation was going. The guy for the copier was here last week, right? And he was like, how's the market? Typically, I would be saucy and be like, what market are you talking about, buying, selling, or investing? Because they're all super different, right? Phil Jones had a recommendation to say, it's interesting. Just pause for a second, right? I'm a chatty Cathy. I have a really hard time pausing because I want to tell you everything. And so he's like, how's the market? And I was like, it's interesting. And we kept walking. And he was like, that was a really interesting response. Tell me what you mean by that. Right? Like, it piqued his curiosity. And I was like, and I asked him, well, why might you be asking me about the real estate market? Right? Then he just starts talking that he moved here from California and he's renting whatever. And so then they start telling me what they're interested in. And then that's when we can go into those conversations. Oh, well, actually our market's super different than California, right? Where here's what's happening here. I actually probably wouldn't say that because I don't know how California's market is, but I think it's different. But knowing what our numbers are in Allegheny County single family homes, here's what's happening. Here's where we were last year. So people think that we're crazy difference from last year versus this year. It's not drastically different, right? Or when we're talking about the trend line where houses typically we can see them appreciate over 4% over year over year. During COVID, we spiked way over that trend line and we're just starting to come back down. We're still up above it, but it is starting to come back down. So people are like, oh, the housing prices are too high. Well, actually, did you know from this year to this year, we've actually dropped 7% or whatever that is. So knowing those numbers. But then in an open house, right? One thing that Phil Jones says, every word that leaves your mouth is either helping or hurting. And I was like, ooh, neutral is a waste of time, right? So we don't want to hurt ourselves during our open house. Quit talking about the house, help the person. People show up to open houses typically before they're ready. That can be subjective in this market because sometimes it's the only chance to get the heck in to the house. Instead, no, we're gonna move past that one. So the first question somebody comes in, where did you travel from today? Right? Instead of what brings you in, where did you travel from? They could be local, they could be out of town, but that alone is going to spark different conversations. Tell them 2 to 5 things to look for depending on the size of the house. So send them on an Easter egg hunt in the house. While you're looking around, be sure to check out the backyard. They just put in that beautiful pond, or make sure you see the master closet or the main bedroom closet. It's stunning, or whatever. Send them with some things to look for during your open house, and then leave them alone. When they come back down, reintroduce yourself again, ask them if they saw things that you pointed out or what their thoughts were, what their opinions were of those things. Ask, how do you feel about the house? Not what do you think about the house, because logic makes people think, emotion makes them act. I don't care what they think about the house. They're going to act on their emotions. How do you feel about the house? What did you like about the house? Bring up the positive things that they enjoyed about the house. Ask them what their plans are for the rest of the day. right? If they traveled from out of town, you better know Pittsburgh. If you need help, Ken will help you because he could be a Pittsburgh tour guide. That was perfect timing, Ken. Thanks for coming in.
I got you.
If they're attending other open houses, and here's why being a numbers nerd and knowing things is super important. You better stinking know every other open house that's surrounding yours in the area. So if you know that they're interested in Penn Hills and there are 4 other open houses in Penn Hills, I don't care if you have to have a note in your phone or you print it out, you better know whose open houses they are. So if that buyer says, oh, we were gonna check out, there's an open house at 123 Main, you're like, oh yeah, that's Ken's listing. Be sure to tell him I said hi when you're over there. Right, you sound and look like you know what the heck you're talking about. If that's the only one they mention, you can say, oh, did you also notice that there was an open house over here at the street? Now you're bringing value because you're telling them about other open houses that there are. When they're going over, they say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Ken's open house. Awesome. I'll give Ken a call and let him know that you're on your way, so he can be prepared for you. Right? They're like, oh, that's cool. Thank you. Another thing to do, I mean, you can have the open house sign in, you can have it on your iPad, you can have it connected to your CRM or whatever. But if we're having a conversation, we know that they're going somewhere else, or maybe this wasn't the house for them. We can, and it's a trust thing. I'm gonna pull up my text, get a blank text message up, and I'm gonna hand you my phone. That's trust. You now have my phone. Go ahead and put your number in there and I'll start a text thread. So if anything else comes up along the way, or if you have any questions about that open house that you're going to go to, we already have a thread going. I promise not to spam you, but now you have my number. We can send a text. Add whoever, you know, if there's another decision maker, add them into the thread so we can be in conversation. Now you trust me because I handed you my phone, right? That's like my whole life. I don't know what to do right now. I'm sweating a little bit. And you put your phone number into my phone, and now I have permission to communicate with you. Right? I need that back. I'm sweating. Thanks. I'm just kidding. When we're talking about other houses coming in the market, you can say, you know, if this wasn't the house for you, would it be helpful to know when a house in this area is about to come on the market before it hits the market, or as soon as it does? Would that be helpful? Of course, that would be helpful because we want to buy a house. So it's just like, hey, here's my phone, put your number in there. I'd love to be able to communicate with you if I know other houses are going to be coming on the market. Then after our open house, we door knock and we try to generate another piece of business, and we can contact our people and be like, hey, you know, we can do an exclusive listing, be very particular about that form. Ken and I know about that form. It was just on the MLS exclusive listing form. That form will get you for $1,000 every time. Then you can communicate with them. So we're gonna generate buyer lead who's not gonna buy that house, and we're gonna door knock to get additional listings, and we're gonna talk about this later this afternoon, also in the generating houses for your buyers that aren't on the market. So open up that text thread. Is there anyone else that should be in the thread that we're communicating with, a decision maker in this process? So that was, I think that's all I have on conversations for an open house. I mean, other conversation questions, right? Where do you live now? How long have you lived there? Do you own? Do you rent? What's making you think about making a move? Do you need to sell before you make an offer? When was the last time you had your house appraised? Do you know the equity in your buying power in this market? Have you made any improvements? Would this information be helpful to know? If they're local, now you've set yourself up on a potential listing appointment. Who's your... One thing that he pointed out to say was, instead of saying, are you working with a real estate agent? Oh, and who is the real estate agent that you're working with? Who asks for a person? If I can't readily be like, oh yes, I'm working with Jennifer Burns and Keller Williams, I'm not working with anyone. But much like when we walk into a department store, I have a purpose for walking into that store, but every single time when they're like, hey, is there anything I can help you with today? Nope, just looking. Don't talk to me. When I walk into an open house, hey, are you working with a real estate agent? Yep. Who? Who is the real estate agent that you're working with? Asking again, so tell me, what are your plans? Again, if they're not from here, be able to talk about Pittsburgh, highlight food, lunch, things to do. If there's littles, know the other open houses and who has them listed. If there are no other open houses, but there are listings, I always have those printed out. And I just say, oh, hey, did you get a chance to see these? Would you like me to schedule a private tour for when we're done here at this open house? Or tomorrow or whenever, right? Know what the heck is going on in that area. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, anything helpful?
Yeah.
Tell me to kick rocks. I'm just kidding. Jennifer gave a thumbs up. What, Jennifer?
I just go kick rocks.
Kick rocks, yes. All right, we have to pause that. Are gonna break, we'll be back at 12:30, generating homes that are not on the market for our buyers. Take a picture of this, I can send you the recording. If you have questions on any of it or wanna set some of it up, I'll get my hand out of the way so you can take a picture. Just get with me. She's like, I can't see that.
Are you just like reading my lips? Talking smack.
Wait, you're muted. What?
Yeah, if you get closer so that people can see that, yeah.
That's all I got. I can't hold it any longer. But I will email the recording out. I can take a picture. And then, like I said, if you have questions, if you want to start setting it up, just get with me. We can meet, preferably on a Friday for half an hour, because that's when my schedule allows. And we can just schedule this for you and figure out what it looks like to get some of this set up. And I run my business very similar to how Jennifer runs her business. I'm all about keeping costs very, 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 very freaking low. I want to lead with revenue. I don't want to pour a bunch of money into something. So we're going to figure out a way to do as much of this as we can for a very low cost to generate the most amount of return for our investment. See y'all at 12:30. These, I made them. I just printed them at home, actually. Oh, wow. Yeah. I bought cards on Amazon and I actually went into Reminder Media and I did not steal their ideas, but I used it